Hello everyone, welcome to another day of learning. Today is day 21 where we shall be building and continuing to build our flight booking engine. Today we shall aim at automating deployment with Terraform. In day 20 we looked at creating infrastructure and we automated this using Terraform. And I can show you that right here. If I go to the Terraform, then main.tf, I did this, okay? And today we're going to make sure that after the infrastructure has been created, okay, in the GitHub Action, the next step will be to now deploy our application, okay? That will involve installing Docker, setting our environment variables, and having it running on our machine. And I know I've taken some time away from the streams. That is because personal issues came in that I had to pay attention to. And also, I had to give time to my designer to recover because he got sick, his child got sick, his wife got sick. So, yeah, it took a while to get back uh, to this. But yeah, all is good. And now I've got to continue with this. So today I'll start by creating the script. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to create a script which will be run on the AWS machine. And in addition to that, I'll have to set that up right here, okay, in this work GitHub action. But also we need to start creating that script right here in the Terraform file. So I hope you've been practicing and learning on your own. Actually, if I can show you my GitHub, if I can find GitHub, if you go to Actions, you'll see I've been trying out so many things since yesterday, even today. Okay, so this is the best way to learn. Do not only watch this, but try out things for yourself. So let's continue. Okay, so I'll go back to my code and we're going to create a file, okay, right here. So I need to close this. I can close this for now. This file will be called setup.sh. Okay. And this file will be responsible for number one. Let me put some comments here. And maybe I need to expand this so that you can see it clearly. So the first thing will be we want to update and install dependencies. Okay. I like that AI is suggesting for me. After that, we shall need to add the current user to the Docker group. Okay, I like AI suggestion. That's correct. Then after that, we need to start and enable Docker. Okay, that's the Docker service. Then after that, we shall need to clone the repository. After cloning the repository, we can now create the .env file. Okay, I know the better ways of doing this with the environment variables, but I want to keep it basic and simple for now. As we go on, we can maybe do this in a better way. After that, finally, we run Docker. Okay, that is actually Docker compose. Okay, so you can see I have the .env. Where is it? If you go to backend, okay, backend, see you have the .env. Okay, so we need to create it, okay, on the machine. So the very first thing we need to do in this case is to create a file, a line of code called the shebang, okay? So a shebang is simply the first line of code in a shell script, and shebang is defined by a pound, okay, like that, and then an exclamation mark, okay, as simple as that, a pound and then an exclamation mark. What follows this is the absolute path to the interpreter which is responsible for executing this, okay. In this case, it will be bash. So I'll say /bin/bash, like that. If it is Python, you can say /bin/python, okay, Python, like that, okay. And that will mean that this file will be executed by the Python interpreter, okay. So make sure whenever you do this, it's the absolute path. So in my case, it will be /bin/bash, like that. Very simple and very direct. Now, let's now move on. So the next thing I want to do is to write some piece of code. I'll say set -e. Okay, so -e is an option which helps us to see error messages. Okay, and the program will, in case of any error, okay, the program will be terminated. Okay, it will exit. Then I'll say -e x. Okay, the x will print out the commands which are being run at each step. Okay, which is good for debugging in case anything goes wrong. So I'll go on to implement this first thing, which is updating dependencies. I'll say apt dash get update, okay, like this. So in case this one fails, okay, -e will give us the error and will exit, okay, and -x will print this command in the logs, okay, and she'll be able to see it. But then remember, minus update will want us to do a confirmation, okay. So, but in the server, in our automation, we won't be able, we don't want to, if that happens, the program won't work properly, okay? So we want automatic confirmation, okay? That yes, we want you to go ahead to update the dependencies on the Linux machine. To automatically accept that, we have to pass an option called -y, okay? So -y means we are saying yes to updating the dependencies, and we use the apt get tool to update the dependencies. Next thing, I want to use apt-get to install Docker, okay, and Docker Compose. So I'll say apt-get, okay, and I'll say install, okay, and I'll say -yes to say confirm all the installations, okay. The first one will be docker.io. The next one will be Docker Compose. Okay, I like AI suggestions. And I'll also install Git, okay, just to make sure that everything is okay. Because we're going to use Git to clone our repository, okay? So follow me very, very closely. -y, again, I've said, is confirming, okay? Because if we don't say -y, okay, we shall be prompted, okay. In the prompt here, it will, for example, if we're doing it in my terminal here, okay, we shall have a question like, maybe, are you sure you want to install Docker, okay, and we have to put it like y, okay, for yes or a no, okay. But in our automation, we want to avoid this. This would fail automating, okay? So we want to automatically accept by saying yes. To do that in our script, you simply put -y. So apt-get is a tool which comes on Linux machines, which helps you to update dependencies and install tools and packages, okay? So like in our case, we need Docker, okay, which is the Docker engine, and Docker Compose, which we know by now, okay? And if you don't know about Docker Compose and Docker, walk through the playlist and see, wow, what I did concerning those two, okay? How I explained what they are and how we deployed to EC2 using that, okay? So now we're just automating it. And then finally, Git, okay? So I'll create some space, and then continue, okay? So when I continue, we now have the next one. Okay, so you can see AI is trying to suggest we now need to add the current user to the Docker group. To add the current user, we shall use a tool called user mod. Okay, so if I come here, my terminal, okay, and I say user mod, okay, say command not found, okay, because ideally this is not actually in Ubuntu, this is Mac, okay, but user mod is simply a tool. If I go to, I want to show you how to learn the things, okay, you can say man page for user mod, in case you didn't know what it is, okay. So you see, this is the man page, okay. Look at the description. It says user mod command notifies the system account files, okay. So what does it say? What does this mean? It means you can use it to add users to particular groups, okay. You can use it to do a number of several things, okay. And I like this summary by AI. It says user mod command in Linux is used to modify a user's account information. Okay. So as simple as that. So we're going to modify the user's account information. Okay. And to do that, okay, what user are we going to which user are we going to like modify? Okay. The current user, we need to find out the current user. Okay. If I come here in my terminal, look at my terminal. If you look at my terminal and just a moment. If you look at my terminal and I check and I say, who am I? Okay. You see, it gives me my current username. Okay. Are you seeing that? That's the current username. So we can use that who am I command to know the username of the current user. Okay. So I'll say dollar. Okay. Say who am I? Like that. Okay. So we're going to get the current user name using this, okay, and add them to a group, okay. The group will be called Docker, okay. So the current user being added to the Docker group. But in addition to that, we need to pass a few options. First option is A meaning append, G for group. So we are appending, okay, the current user to the Docker group. So just to show you again what who am I does. So we say who am I shows Nehe. Okay. Of course, for default Ubuntu machines, you'd expect this to be, for example, like Ubuntu, okay? But you may not know who the current user is, okay? Or it might you want it to be like dynamic, okay, and reusable. That's why I just said dollar like that. So dollar is how we pick out like, how can I call it, variables in Linux. So I'll say who am I, like that. So I hope that clearly makes sense. Let's now go on with this script. The next thing I want to do is now to start and enable Docker. So to enable Docker, I can see AI is suggesting a good command. Okay, let me just close this. So systemctl, okay, is a tool in Linux machines which helps you to start, stop, and enable services. Okay, and so after installing the Docker service, we need to start it. Okay, so I'll say Docker start systemctl start Docker. Okay, then systemctl enable Docker. So I just did an autocomplete. What AI suggested and is correct. Okay, so we shall start Docker service, and enabling it means every time the machine boots, okay, Docker will be automatically started for us. Okay, what else do we need to do? The next thing we need to do is to clone the repository. Okay, so to clone the repository, I need to check if a certain variable, okay, has been passed to this script. Okay, if that variable exists, then we can clone. Okay, so I want to just show you a basic if statement. Actually, we need it. We just need it. Okay, so I'll just quickly say git clone Okay, git clone quotes. Okay, so I'm going to type the actual command. I'll say https full colon. Okay, so full colon, we shall have to first pass, because the repository is private. I'll need an access token to access the repository. So I'll say dollar. Okay, I'll put I'll say gh underscore part. Okay, gh underscore part. This is going to be the what's it called, the token. Okay, the personal access token. And then, so ideally, part is for personal access token, P personal A access T token, and GH is simply for GitHub. Okay, then I'll say at github.com. Okay, slash dollar. Okay, then I'll say repo underscore URL. Okay, then at the end dot git. Okay, just like that. So HTTPS full colon. So if I, before, just to make you understand this, if I go to the browser, okay, and I show you this repo, and I copy, if I copied this, okay, and then I pasted it close by, you see, we have github.com, okay, then we have the repo URL, okay. So I want this script to be able to work for any repo. That's why I'm not hard coding this, okay. So I'll remove that, okay. So you see the format, okay. Repo URL corresponds to this part, okay. The username slash the actual repository, okay. Then .git, then gh part would be that token, which will just come right here, okay. Some random string like the string, then at, okay. So that's what I'm trying to build. I hope that makes sense to you. So now I just go through, but sometimes you might want to be maybe extra careful, okay, to be secure. You can do like a guard, okay. For example, you can put an if statement and say if maybe, okay, so if to write if statements in shell, you say if, you put square brackets, okay, then you put the then keyword, okay, then to stop it you simply say fi, okay, say fi. So fi marks the end of the if statement. So you say if square brackets, then you write your body inside, then you say fi to end it, okay. So we can say if there's a repo URL, if the repo URL actually exists, then that's when we can only clone, okay. So how can I do this? I will come here, okay, and put the condition, okay, and say -n, okay. So -n means, is used to mean that the length of a string should be greater than or equals to 1 and not 0, okay. So I'll say if colon dollar, okay, because we want to extract the value of that variable, okay, and we're going to see how to pass the variables to this shell script, okay, like how to pass repo URL and how to pass ghpath, okay. But ideally, how to output them in your shell script, okay, how to fetch them and use them in your shell script, use a dollar sign and 2 curly brackets, okay. So dollar sign, 2 curly brackets, then in between those 2 curly brackets you mention the variable, okay. So in our case will be repo underscore URL. So -n simply means if this string repo URL's length, okay, is greater than 0, meaning it actually exists, then, okay, here actually I think I need to put a semicolon like that. Then here we can now do something, okay. We can now do something useful. I hope that makes sense. Let me just see the chat if there's any question. If I continue. Yes, I think we're okay. All right. So after we have done this, okay, after we have cloned, the next thing I want to do is to to create the env file, okay, to be safe. I'll create the env file, okay. So to create this env file, I'm going to use what they call a here doc, okay. So this here doc, if I just can Google it for you, it's simply a way to pass multiple lines, okay, in a file, okay, using bash, okay. So you can see bash here doc, okay. So look at this. It's saying in the following example, we are passing 2 lines of text containing an environment variable and a command to cut using a here document. Okay. So they're called here documents. Okay. So to define a here document, this is what you do. Okay. You put these, how they call them? Can I call them less than signs, 2 less than signs? Okay. Then you put EOF. Okay. So this is called simply a here document, okay, or a here doc, okay. And what does it do? It helps you to input multiple lines, okay, to a command, okay. And I'm going to show you that command. So here doc like that, then I'll end it. To end it, I simply say EOF like that, okay. So this specifies the start and the end, okay. But in between here, that's where I can now put the multiple lines. Okay. For example, one line I want to put is like, for example, the mail username. Okay. It's an environment variable. I can say mail username. And I can also take what AI is suggesting. Okay. Mail username will be equals to but I don't need the quotes. Okay, so I'll remove them. That's why sometimes you need to know what you're doing. So mail username will be equals to dollar 2 square curly brackets, then the variable. Okay. And again, I'm going to show you how to import this variable, the variables inside here. So yeah, this is one line. Okay. Another line would be, for example, like the mail password. Okay. Mail password like that. Okay. It's another example. Okay. But all these multiple lines have to be passed to a command. Okay. That command is going to be called cat. Okay. The cat command. Okay. And this cat command will redirect everything to a file. How do we redirect it to a file? Using this greater than sign. Okay. So this means that this here document here is specifying a number of lines, okay, of text, okay, which are going to be cut or concatenated into a file. Okay. That file will lives in our repository, which we have cloned, which I think is called arrow underscore bound underscore ventures. Okay, this is going to be the directory /.env. Okay, so I need to be sure I've spelled it correctly. It's AERO underscore airbound ventures /.env. Okay, but it's not the actual location. If you look at it, it's actually airbound ventures, then backend, then .env. Okay, so this has to be /backend/.env like that. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. Rohan Wadwa asks a question: how far are you in the development process? Like, have you implemented the backend and front end? Because I haven't been able to follow your past few weeks. Rohan, I have implemented the backend, most of it. I would say 90% of it. Okay, a few things are remaining, like registering bookings and payments for the MVP to be done. Okay, yeah, only that. Then the front end, most of the UIs have been generated. Okay, what is remaining is integration. Okay, so this is day 21. You can look at the playlist. Okay, and then you can find the playlist in the description, and you look through what we have done and what we have left out. So far, we are dealing with the DevOps part. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. All right, and of course, last week actually I wasn't able to do anything. Like I told you, I was dealing with some personal stuff and wasn't able to. Okay, so let's let's continue. Okay, let's continue. Rohan, you can ask a follow-up question in case I've not been clear. So next up, we want to have the mail from. Okay, I've been I tried this a number of times for the past days. Okay, so I have a note. So I'm looking at this other screen while we'll do this. Okay, so don't think I'm getting all this from my head. I know the entire concept because I've been practicing it a lot. Okay, and I'm looking at my notes on the side to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Okay, so yeah, we have the mail underscore from. I can autocomplete what AI is suggesting. This is correct. Then next up is not DB hosts, okay? But what we need is the mail port, okay? Which goes to mail port. Next up, mail server is correct, okay? After that, we need the access token. Access token. You have to be careful how you defined it, okay? So access token expire in minutes, okay? This is correct also. Next up, so I think the secret key is required. We need the algorithm. Okay, that's correct. Okay. Then one other thing that we had was the Amadeus API secret. Let me just go to the .env example and copy those to avoid making mistakes. So you see, we have Amadeus API key, API secret, Amadeus API key. I'll come here. You say Amadeus API key equals to Amadeus API key. Next up, we have the API secret. Okay. API secret equals to API secret. Then also we need the Amadeus base URL. Okay, so that's how you do it. Okay, so make sure you have them exactly like this. Okay, the mail username, mail password, mail from, mail port, mail server, access token expires in minutes. Okay, the secret key, the algorithm, Amadeus API key, Amadeus API secret, and the base URL. And of course, those who have been watching from the beginning, you know that we've been using Amadeus to help us get flight information. Okay. Yes, Rohan. Yeah, just watch the past and you'll be fine. So yeah, I hope this makes sense to all of you. If you don't, yeah, you always can ask a follow-up question. Now, all these values are going to be injected. These variables you're seeing, repo URL, ghpath, mail username, mail password, all these, okay, are going to be injected by our Terraform config, like you're going to see very, very soon, okay? So this is how you create our file, okay? But we're not actually done, okay? We're not done. I kind of feel like there's something missing, but I can't tell, okay? So we have the end of file, okay? I think this is what I needed, okay? So are you seeing this? This was inside, so it was treating it like a comment, kind of, okay? But I was supposed to put it outside here. So this is the end of file. Oh my god, it's a here document, okay? Which is simply a way of passing a number of lines, okay, to a command like cat, which will add all of them to this file, okay, and redirect them using this greater than sign. So now we have the fi concluding the if statement. Now, next up, we can now run docker compose, okay? So what I can do, I can now cd into airbound ventures /backend, okay? So remember, when we clone the repository, we have this folder called airbound ventures, okay? But then we need to go to airbound ventures /backend, which is this one here. Okay? Which is this backend here. Then after that, okay, embedded Rohan and others, you may need to watch the first stream in the playlist on the system design to understand what is going on. Okay. And I know, of course, many people watch the recording after the live stream is done. So if you're watching this later, make sure you watch that first video. It's very important. It will teach you the system design and give you a high level understanding. All right, let's continue. So yeah, we now, of course, sorry, I need to go to the next line. Okay. We now seed into that backend folder, okay? And why we seed into that backend folder? Because that backend folder has our compose file, okay? It has the Docker file and it has the compose.yaml. So inside here, we can now say docker dash compose app, okay? Then -d, make it run in background, okay? And we ask it to rebuild all the images, okay? So this would be the end, okay? So our script in short, if I just do a summary of it, first step is a shebang, okay? Which is a line telling Linux that use bash as the interpreter for this file, okay? Then you have set ex. E simply says when this tell us an error message, but if an error happens, exit immediately, okay? Then X simply says output every command, okay? Tell us the before you execute a command and give us its output, tell us what the command is, okay? Then we update the Linux dependencies, okay? Install Docker Compose and Git, okay? Add the current user using who am I to the Docker group, okay? And -a means append, G is for the group. Then we start Docker, the Docker service. Then we enable the Docker service using a tool called systemctl, a tool in Linux which enables you to start services. And in this case, the service we are starting is Docker. Enabling Docker means it will start when the machine boots. After that, we need to clone the repository, okay, and create a .env file. To clone, we use an if statement. This if statement will allow the code in its body to execute only if the repo URL only exists. If it exists, then we clone, okay, and we clone by using the GitHub repo URL, okay, and we shall pass the GitHub personal access token, okay, to it, and the repo URL here, and you'll see how we're going to pass this information, okay. Then we shall use a here doc, okay, to using the here doc and the cat command to concatenate all these environment variables into a file called .env in airbound ventures /backend. Okay, that's what we are going to do. And then after that, we cd into the backend and then run Docker, okay, Docker compose, as simple as that. So now we need to pass this information, okay, this information here, all these variables, mail, username, password, etc. To do that, we need to go to main.tf, okay. So I hope everybody gets it and is understanding. So in main.tf, so if you're watching this for the first time, watch the previous video to understand what's going on with main.tf and everything else. So let's continue, okay. I'm going to do a few changes to this, okay. But to understand what is going on, you need to go back and study the previous live stream. But let's continue, okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to remove this VPC, okay. There's no need for me to use it, okay. I'll use the default VPC that AWS creates in the account, and to do that, I'll need the data block, okay. So we learned that when we learned in Terraform about 3 or 4 videos ago, we learned that data blocks help us to look up or to query existing resources. So the existing resource I want is an AWS underscore VPC, like that, okay. And I'll just call it default, okay, because it's going to be the default VPC I'm going to look for, okay. So to create the block, I'll use these curly brackets like that. Then in between here, I'll say default equals to, not minus, but equals to true. So meaning, again, I've said a data block is simply used to look up information, just like this one here that we had previously was looking up an AWS Amazon machine image, okay. In this case, I am looking up a VPC. What is a VPC? A VPC is simply a private network in the cloud for you. Okay. So after that, What do I need to do? I need to now connect the security group to this VPC, okay? So think about a security group as a firewall for your private network. So the VPC is the network, and the security group is like a firewall for your private network. So in fact, I can even copy this, okay? I can copy all this and put it up here, okay? And now I can now connect, say, I can say VPC ID will not be module.vpc.vpc ID. I have to change it. I have to change it to data, okay? What is data? Is this one here, this data block, dot AWS VPC, which is this one, okay? Then dot default, okay, referring to this, and then its ID, which will be given to us. So you see how easy and simple it is to think about it, okay? Not complex, actually. Okay. After that, we have our ingress rules, okay? Just a reminder, ingress simply means the rules for inbound traffic from the outside world entering our private network, okay? Also, we need to put the opposite, which is the egress, okay? Egress is simply the network, the rules which define what is leaving our private network to the outside world, okay? And for now, I'm just going to keep it simple that I'll say from the port range. Actually, I've now remembered something. I seen this ingress when I said from port 80 to port 80. This was actually a mistake. Okay. I thought that it means from means that the port from the external world, and then to means the port inside our private network. But that was wrong. After further research, I discovered that from and to simply are port ranges. Okay. For example, we can say from port 80 to port 8000. Okay. They are port ranges. Okay. And now actually our application is going to run on port 8000. So I can simply leave that as 8000. Okay. But for the ingress, it can be from port 0 to port equals to 0. Okay. Just leave it open. Okay. Why is this thing hanging? Just a moment. Actually, I can hear myself when I test. This is the side. Looks okay. Okay. All right, let's continue. Okay. Then for the protocol, like up here, I'll just say protocol equals to -1. Okay. The CIDR blocks will be the same. Okay. Yes, we can allow anything for now. Okay. What else have I forgotten? From to protocol, the CIDR blocks. Okay, ingress, that's the same. So next up, we need now to deal with the what's it called? The actual resource. Okay. Let me just minimize this, the actual resource. Okay. So in this resource, we now need to provide, remember, when the AWS instance, okay, the machine is executed, okay, after it has been set up, not executed, but when it has been set up successfully, we need to run this setup.sh, okay. Have that in your mind, okay. The goal of this is to make sure that this AWS resource is executed. I mean, after the AWS resource has been executed, okay, has been created, not executed. Why do I keep saying executed? The goal is after the instance has been created, we now, okay, run setup.sh. So we're going to work on that right now, okay? So we can keep the VPC here. We don't need the subnet ID because we removed the module, okay? So for now, we can still have the AWS security group app server sg.id, which refers to this, okay? But to run that, we shall need what they call user data, okay? So let me explain user data. What is user data? Usually on AWS EC2, after the EC2 instance or the machine has been created for it successfully, EC2 and AWS allow you to input a script, okay, to run a script, okay, to help you set up your machine, okay. The way we can do it using Terraform is by using user data. User data is what is going to help us input a script, okay, which will be run successfully when the machine has been set up, okay. What is user data again? User data is simply a command in Terraform which allows us to run a script when the instance has been created successfully. So I'll say user data equals to template file. And I'm going to explain what template file is, okay? So template file takes two things, okay? It takes the file, okay, comma, and a number of variables, okay, that you may want to pass to the file, okay? So template file, so you can either say file like this directly, okay? And in my case, I would say dot forward slash, then I say setup, okay, dot sh, okay, because it is in the same directory here, setup dot sh, okay. Dot forward slash means the current working directory, then setup dot sh, okay. I can do this and it would run, but these variables wouldn't be passed, okay. So if you want your file to be built up with variables, and these variables like mail username, mail password are passed to that file, then you use template file, okay. But if your script is complete and you don't need any variable to be passed to it, you can simply say file, okay. So I'm using template file because I'm going to pass variables. So we put the name of the file like this, setup.sh, after that comma, okay, then the variables, okay. So what I can do is simply to copy all this, okay. I can simply copy them and yeah, pass them, okay. But let's go step by step, okay. No need to rush, okay. Actually, let's copy, okay. So the first one we have is we have the repo URL. To save time, so I'll copy this. Come here, say repo URL, okay, will be equals to var dot repo URL. Remember how we access variables in Terraform is using var, okay? Terraform gives us that var attribute or object, which constitutes of all the variables, okay? So we're going to give Terraform all these variables, okay? And Terraform will give them to our setup.sh, okay? So our Terraform is giving setup.sh the variables, okay? And then something else needs to give Terraform the variables, and I'll show you soon. So let me do this very fast. Next is the GitHub token, personal access token. So I'll say gpart, okay, will be equals to var.gpart. Next line, we need, if I miss out any, please let me know. We need the mail username. This way I need AI to help me, but it's hidden. Mail.username. Okay, we now need the mail password like that. Then we need the mail from equals to var dot mail from. Then we need the mail port. Mail port will be equals to var dot mail port. Okay, so the values on the left, okay, are the ones that are going to be passed here. Then we need the mail server equals to variable dot mail server. Then we need the access token expires would be equals to variable dot access token expires minutes. We need a secret key. Secret key goes to variables dot secret key. Then we need the algorithm. Algorithm would be equals to variable dot algorithm. Then we need the Amadeus API key, which will be Amadeus API key equals to var dot Amadeus API key. Then we need the API Amadeus API secret. equals to var.amadeus API secret. Then we need the Amadeus base URL. This will be Amadeus base URL equals to var.amadeus base URL. And I think, yeah, that is it. Okay. So by just doing this, okay, this this script, okay, this setup.sh will receive all the required attributes, as simple as that. Okay. So now, what now we need to do next, okay, is to now, how does Terraform now supply them? Okay. Remember, this Terraform is going to give out template file. This template file must populate setup.sh. Okay. Setup.sh is the template file, and Terraform must supply it with these environment variables. Okay, which are in this object called var. Where do they come from? They have to come from what am I going to call it? They have to come from oh my god, am I tired? They have to come from here. Okay, to come from here in our workflow. Okay, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. Okay, but before leaving this, we need to define them in these variables. Where is it? I think variables.tf. Okay, in the beginning we had a variable called instance name and instance type. Okay, so what we are missing, okay, if I go back to main.tf, okay, and I show you something. Are you seeing this? Instance type goes to var.instance type. We used it here, okay? Instance type, and the default was t3.micro, okay? So we need to supply the same, okay? I hope that makes sense to you, okay? So one way you can handle these variables is by typing them here, okay? To tell Terraform that we have a number of variables, okay? And when Terraform looks at this file called variables.tf, okay, it will inject all those variables into an object called var, okay? And like I told you at the beginning, I actually did this earlier. So I'm going to show you about like two and maybe just copy the rest, okay? To save time. So I can create one called, I can say we have a variable, okay? So to create a variable, you start with a variable, what is called a variable block, okay? Using a variable keyword, then your curly braces. So to create a block so like you've known so far in Terraform, there are different types of blocks, okay? There's a provider block, the data block, resource block, okay? And right now we have a variable block. So here I create a variable block, create a variable block, and then the name of the variable. In our case here in main.tf, the first variable is repo URL, okay, here. So I can say repo URL, okay. Then I can give a description, okay. So description is equals to the URL of the repository, if I can spell this correctly, repository to clone, okay, like that. Then you put like the type. So the type of this one is a string, okay. Then you can even put a default value if you want, okay. So in this case, I'm going to just copy the rest, okay. For example, because I would have to manually type the gh part, mail username, and it's going to be repetitive, okay. It's the same thing. So ideally, if I was to create another one, I can just copy this, okay, and I say gh_part, okay. Then I come here and I change the description to GitHub personal access token, okay, which is a string, okay, and no default value, okay, but it's a sensitive. I can say sensitive, okay, equals to true, okay, and Terraform will know how to handle these sensitive values, okay, like that. So what I'm going to do is to go to the repository where I had this, and I copy them, okay, because I was playing with this around. Where is this file? Terraform So variables.tf, okay, and I'll copy all these, okay. In fact, we may not even need them, but just to show you the whole point, okay. Come back here, remove these and paste, okay. So you see, if you see the syntax, okay, they're all variable blocks. How do I know it's a variable block? Because they all start with variable, 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 till down here, okay. Then after variable, the name of the variable in quotes, instance type, repo URL, ghpath, mail username, all the way up to the database URL, okay, which we may not even actually need, okay. I put it there because I think I was playing with something, okay. And like you see, most of them have sensitive equals to true, okay, because they are supposed to be secrets, okay. They are not supposed to be shared with anyone, okay. Now, let's continue. So the next thing we need to talk about is now the actual building, okay? But even before that, when Terraform finishes to launch our thing, we need certain outputs, okay? We need to output, for example, the IP address, okay, the public IP address, and also we need it to tell us about the application URL, okay? I think I also worked on that. So to save time, I can just come here and copy them and explain to you, okay? So an output is, like you're going to see very soon, an output is simply data that is given to you, okay, about your infrastructure. So the first one, we want the EC2 public IP, okay? To get it, we say the value will be AWS instance.appserver.public IP. What is AWS instance? If you go to main.tf, it is referring to this resource, AWS instance.appserver, then its ID, okay? So we need the AWS instance, which is this, okay? Then app server, which is referring to this resource name, okay? Then we need the public IP address, okay? Then to build the application URL, okay, we shall say HTTP :// okay? Then you say AWS instance again .app server .public IP. Remember, this is a variable, okay? Why are we doing like this? Because it's in quotes, okay, and it's supposed to be a string, okay? So this is essentially the same as this, okay? Then we specify the port 8000 because that's where our application is running, on port 8000. Now, I'll close this, okay? So now, since we have now defined the variables, okay, and now Terraform is aware of the variables which we need to now pass them when running the GitHub action, okay? So how do we define them in the GitHub action? We go to the workflow file. So we come here to github.github workflows terraform.yaml, and I close all this, okay? So in this workflow file, let me just check the comment section to make sure I'm not missed out on any question in case. Of course, if you have a question or any contribution, yeah, feel free to mention it. All right, I see none. Let's continue. So we need to modify this workflow file, okay? How are we going to modify it? The way what is going to happen is this, okay? When we begin, are you seeing this step? Let me minimize this. Are you seeing this step here down, which says Terraform apply, okay? Before we apply, and then maybe, actually before we plan, okay, we need to create a file, okay? Remember earlier I told you that we don't actually need these variables.tf. That's why I took time to just copy them and show you what the variables, okay? Because doing like this would mean when we run Terraform apply, okay, we have to pass the variables, okay? Like I have to say like minus var, okay? Mail username, okay? Username is equals to the mail username like this, okay? This is secrets to mail username, okay? But this would be a lot of work, okay? And I don't want to do that, okay? There's a simpler way. Instead of putting all those commands and chaining them to this one command, it would be very long. We can create what is called a TF vars. Okay, command is called, a file is called the .tf vars. What's a .tf vars? A .tf vars is a file known by Terraform for storing secrets, okay, environment variables. Actually, it's called a Terraform.tf vars. In fact, if I just Googled this, okay, if I came here to Google and I did this, okay, are you seeing what AI says? Terraform.tf is a special file in Terraform used to assign values to input variables. Okay. So if you come here to this documentation and I expand it for you, see it says a TF vars file in Terraform is used to define input variables for a Terraform configuration. Okay. So that's what we need to do. We're going to define input variables for a Terraform configuration. Okay. So let's do that. Okay. So here I'm going to create a step. Okay. In our job. Okay. We want to create a step maybe after validating. Okay. Before planning. Okay. I'm going to create a step whose name will be called create Terraform TF vars file. Okay. And like I say, you can see AI is already suggesting. Okay. I'll go to the next line. Okay. And then say we want to run. Okay. A command. Okay. So put that pipe. Okay. And then on the next line, we can say we want to run a command which is cat. Okay. So if you look at this file setup.sh, okay, we have the here doc, okay, the here document. The same thing I'm going to do here, okay. I'm going to say cat, okay. Then we have the here document like that, okay. I'll just autocomplete what AI created, okay. So we shall have multiple lines of text, okay, and we shall create a file called terraform.tf vars in the Terraform directory, okay. It has to be inside this directory here, okay. So this first one called Terraform is this directory. Then inside here, in the machine, okay, in the runner on GitHub, it will have terraform.tf vars, okay. Then of course at the end we can have this the EOF to mark the end of that here document, okay. So in between we can have now the multiple lines, okay. For example, I can say now the GH. Remember, what we need is everything here. If I go to main.tf, what we need to supply is this. We need to supply the repo URL, the GH part, everything, okay? Everything has to be supplied. So for example, I can come here and say the GH part will be equals to, okay? And I can autocomplete this from AI, okay? It is saying secrets.gh patch, okay? So what is secrets.gh part, okay? Secrets is an object, okay, given by GitHub, okay, which stores all your secrets, okay. Now, where do you store these secrets? You store these secrets on GitHub. Remember this file here, this workflow file, okay. And again, if you don't understand what this file is, please watch the previous videos, okay. These secrets are stored on GitHub. Where are they stored? Let me show you. On your GitHub account, if you go to your profile, okay, click on your profile picture like this, scroll and go to settings, okay. If I click settings like this, then I scroll, I see here, then I go to developer settings. Is this the one? No. This is not the one. Okay. What you need actually is the repository settings. Okay. So you see, I'm actually also tired. My mind is tired. I see this repository. Go to settings. Okay. Not account settings, but the repository settings. So go to your repository, then go to settings. Then scroll. Okay. Here in the left part, you see secrets and variables. Open this. Then click on actions. We want secrets and variables for this actions. Then after that, choose secrets. Okay. There's a difference between secrets and variables. Variables can just simply plain text. Okay. But a secret will be hidden. Okay. So like you see, I've been playing the number of them. Okay. Last week, remember we set AWS region, access key ID, access key. Okay. And GH part is now here. Okay. And there are secrets I didn't want to do it here when you're seeing it. And I've been playing around with this. So to create one, you simply click on this button saying new repository secret. Then you enter the secret name. For example, I can say sample secret like that. Then I enter the secret, okay? Whatever it is, okay? Then I say add secret like that. So if I scroll down, where is it? I'm looking for sample. You're seeing it? Sample secret, which we have just added. So make sure you also do that, okay? You can actually simply copy from your .env, okay? Copy from your .env, copy from your .env, okay? Copy the key, go to the other side and paste, as simple as that. Now, let's go ahead. So I put all of them here, okay? So now to access them in the workflow file, you say secrets dot the key name, okay? So secrets dot gh part. Gh part is actually here. Where is it? Right here, okay? Then now I'll go on to the next one. Right here, I can say now, I need to just copy from the TF to actually save time. I think we now need the repo URL. Say repo URL equals to secrets.repo URL, okay? Actually need maybe to tab this so to create some, just to make it look nice, okay? Like that, okay? So next up, what do we have? We have the mail username, okay? Mail username called secrets.mail username, okay? Now I like AI. AI is making it faster. I don't know why it didn't do this in the beginning, okay? So of the mail password, not instance name. The next one I think is mail from. I want to follow the same order. So in case anything is wrong, I can easily debug, okay? Mail from. Why can't AI just help me format this on one line? I like looking at things when they're organized. Then we need mail port. Secrets.mail port. I think we need mail server, yes. Say mail server, secrets.mail server. Now we need access token expires. AI is setting to hallucinate things. Access token expires equals to not 15. What's wrong with this AI thing? Secrets.access token expires. Okay, and they have to be in quotes like that. Then we need the secret key. So secret key equals to secrets.secret key. Now we need we need the algorithm. Algorithm equals to, okay. So yeah, if where autocomplete makes sense, please make sure you use autocomplete. After doing this, I'm going to enjoy using AI to. So API is secret, okay. Next, API is secret and Amadeus base. So I say API is equals to that. Then we have the Amadeus base URL. So if your naming is consistent, okay, it makes everything easy for you. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Once you name your things the right way, everything becomes very, very easy. Now, what else do we need? Yeah, so instead of now, see, this is very easy. Instead of now passing, imagine if we had to do it here, okay? We'd have to do something like minus minus var, okay, equals to say dollar, okay, dollar like that, secrets dot something, okay, like that. After that, go again minus minus var, okay. It would be too much, okay. It would be too much and would get worn out. But this is clean and easy, okay. So just look at the change we have done here. We're simply creating that Terraform TS vars, okay, which will be used as input to our Terraform plan, okay, and Terraform apply command, okay. So that when Terraform apply runs, okay, in the main.tf, these values are present, okay. var.repo URL, var.gh will now be available because of this tf vars file, which has all our, so this is the flow, okay. On GitHub, when this step is run, okay, all these values, okay, all these keys and values will be picked from GitHub, okay, and put in this file, okay. Then after that, when running Terraform plan and apply, okay, all the values again, they are passed now from this, from here, from this file, okay, into this, okay. And what is this? Setup.sh, okay. So when setup.sh has the correct file, if you go to setup.sh, you see setup.sh requires them here, okay, to create the .env. And once setup.sh is executed successfully, we have our server running normally, okay. So we've done a lot. It's time now to test, okay. Let's find out if, okay, everything is okay. If it fails, we start debugging. So you don't need this. I can now come here, okay. Simply make sure I'm not git status. Actually, I've remembered something. I need to git ignore something. This tf-vars file, okay, is very, very sensitive, okay. Where is it? It's very sensitive. I don't need, it should be something in the git ignore, okay. So we should git ignore it. Shouldn't be something that we just share out there. So I can simply copy all this like this, go to git ignore. Where is git ignore? Okay, and add it here, okay. But some people call it tsvars.json, okay. That's like AI is suggesting, okay. I don't need to hide it now. What have is there anything I've missed? Because I almost missed putting that in the actions, okay. So I think this is okay. Let's now try to run it, okay. Let's now run. Okay, what's to run? We have to commit, okay. We have to commit and push. So say git add, git commit, git commit -m. I'll say so automate API deployment via GitHub Actions. Okay, then now I can git push. I want to say -f because I don't think it can be in sync because I did multiple alterations earlier. So let's go to GitHub. Okay, to see it, go to GitHub, your GitHub repository, then you go to Actions. So you see it is here running. Okay, just see the steps. So you see Terraform init is running. Okay, it has been successful. Terraform validate has been successful. Let's wait for Terraform plan. Are you seeing this? This command run, the cut of the here doc to terraform.tf-vars also ran successfully. That file was created. Okay. If I open it, you might see some secrets, but let me leave that. Okay, actually something is missing. Are you seeing this? It has stopped. It has hung on var.database URL because I did not pass it. Ideally, this means it wants us to enter it, okay? So what I can do is simply to cancel this workflow and re-prepare it, okay? And then we should just commit, we should just put it back, okay? So what we can do is this simple, okay? Here I can say, first of all, on GitHub, do I have in the secrets, okay? I cancel this and I go back, okay, to where we were. I need to check the secrets. And actually AI kept suggesting it. And I stubbornly, it's right here, you see, database URL. I ignored it, okay? So I can come here and say database. And you know why it's asking for it? Because I think in the variables.tf, okay? Variables.tf, it's there. It's right here, you see? It's right here, but we don't need it, okay? But just to show you how to debug such issues. Once you put it here, you must apply it to your Terraform plan and Terraform apply command. If you don't, it will hang, okay? And of course, when it hangs, you need to put it manually. But now on GitHub Actions, we cannot put it manually. So I have to come back here and type it, say database underscore URL equals to secrets database URL, okay? I can leave it that. Of course, to eliminate it, I would have to just remove this, okay? And also remove this from here. But just showing you what you're supposed to do. So I'll come here, open the terminal, can close this, clear. You say git add, git commit. So this is a fix, the add database URL required for Terraform in GitHub Action. Well, this is required for Terraform. Should apply to all. Then I push. So when I push, get back here to actions, come here, click again on, should now have it running. So this time Terraform plan has worked. Okay, so now apply, see, it has not hanged, okay, like it did before. You can see it's now creating those, it's creating the security group. It's now, it has finished creating the security group, now creating the app server, okay? Now it's done, okay? So it is done actually, everything is done. So you see, we have in the outputs, we have the application URL, we have the public IP and the host name. How are we able to have this? Okay, those are possible because of this file, outputs. Okay, remember in the outputs, we define the instance host name, the public IP address, and the application URL. Okay, and we use the public IP to build the application URL. So using this, okay, we're using this GitHub action, I've been able to check out the code to the machine, okay? What happened on pushing to the main branch, okay? I was able to check out the code to the machine, configure the AWS credentials, install Terraform, set up the Terraform providers and plugins, download and install them on the machine, validate the configuration, set up environment variables, okay? In the inputs, I mean, the input variables using the tf-vars, okay? The input variables using tf-vars. After setting them up, I was able to run Terraform plan, save that plan, and then Terraform apply. Remember, these input variables are supplied automatically to Terraform plan and Terraform apply. So using the terraform.tfvars. Tfvars is a handy way, better way of doing it. Okay, instead of doing it like I showed you by saying minus minus vars, okay, minus minus vars, then you go ahead. We'd have to write each of these, okay, manually in a whole line, which will be too long, okay. So I hope you get the point, okay. So again, if this does not make sense to you, please make sure you watch like the past 3 or 4 videos, okay. Now everything is successful. We have the application URL. So if I click on it, I expect it to work, okay. So you see it says the site can't be reached, which means there's something wrong, okay. Something went wrong. The GitHub action ran successfully, but there is something wrong. We can find out actually. If I go to AWS, okay, let's find out from the instance. The instance is running. I can select it and connect to it. I say connect. It's taking some time. So you can see the Airbound Ventures tag. Failed to launch instance, try again later. I hope they give us access. Error establishing SSH connection to your instance, try again. Is it because let's try again? I think this is the one. If it doesn't, I won't sweat with it. I've been live for over an hour. It's something we can look at. This is weird, by the way. This has never happened. Actually, connecting from the terminal here usually works. Or maybe it's me who did something wrong. Okay. We can review this step by step. So let me just take this off slightly and then we continue because I'm feeling kind of hot. Maybe because of the all right. So I'll go file by file because actually I'd done this earlier. So AWS instance, app server, public IP, you're running application. This should be okay. Let's go to terraform.yaml. Make sure terraform.yaml looks okay. I'll compare it with my notes to make sure all is good. So this looks like has no problem. If you see an issue, let me know. So Terraform TFVARs, build the secret. So are you seeing this? This is wrong. Okay. If we go to here, okay. There's no secret called repo URL. Are you seeing how AI can mislead you? Rohan says, is it called in Uganda? Crazy. Yeah, it's called. It's called. It's called. So let me show you this, okay? Just to follow closely. Here, if I search, okay? If I search for repo underscore URL, it's not there, okay? To actually get the repo URL, I simply need to do something like AI is actually going to mislead me. This is supposed to be, instead of saying secrets, because it's in secrets, okay? There's a variable called GitHub, okay? Given by the actions, okay? Then I can say dot repository, an attribute called repository on the GitHub object, okay? Will give me actually the repo URL I'm looking for. So ideally the value will be the username slash repository, okay? Something like slash Kenehe, in this case, slash arrow bound ventures, something like that, okay? This is the value of this. So yeah, let me continue to review this to see DH part, mail username. I hope the spelling is correct. Mail username, okay. The mail password, the mail from, the mail port, the mail server, access token. Let me copy. This one looks long. It could be, let me find out if it is here. Okay, it's right there. Mail server, does it exist here? Yes, it exists. Mail password, does it exist here? Yes. So you're going to do the one by one to be sure. Okay. Secret key is actually their algorithm is also there. Amadeus API key confirmed. Amadeus API secret confirmed. That also confirmed. Copy this, come back here. I want the Amadeus URL. Okay, I'm now seeing issues. Okay, the base URL is also there. So you see, I think this secrets dot database is not it's not supposed to be. This is in fact this would fail. Okay, so ideally I should be looking for the database URL. Okay, secrets dot database URL, not Amadeus base URL. I always tell people not to trust what AI gives, but look at me, just coding and following things blindly. So I guess this should be okay. And by the way, it could have failed because actually when it was, remember, this repo URL is required in here in main.tf, okay? Repo URL, which is also required in the setup.sh. Where this one here, okay? When cloning, you get. So if the cloning failed, remember we said set exe, okay? So if cloning failed and probably things went wrong. So let's try this again, okay? But remember, I want to caution you on something, okay? Which is very important, which I think we can look at in the next video. Rohan says AI would never replace developers. Exactly. It can't. It can't replace us. It's just simply a copilot, like they call it. Okay. So if you look at this the Terraform file, okay, there's this Terraform.tf state, which we know can hold sensitive information and you should not push it to repository. So my local state is known, but on GitHub, okay, in the GitHub, when a GitHub action is running, okay, it creates, every time it runs, it creates a new state, a new can you say like it refreshes everything, okay. So its local state file cannot be kept in the GitHub runner, okay. So the best solution would to have it somewhere like in an S3 bucket, but that is something we shall do later. But the point I'm saying is that if I like commit and push this again, we might get an issue. It might fail because it might find that there's an instance already which exists. There's a security group, okay, which already exists, okay. So what I want to do is to stop this instance, okay, not to connect but stop it, okay, so that okay we create everything from scratch. So I'll simply shut down this, Then I come here, say git add. I think let me just amend, okay? But if I amend a commit message, it will not make sense. I hate making small commits. Let me just do it. So git add, okay? So git commit fix add correct repo URL and database URL in workflow like that, okay? But also I'd forgotten I need to what? Delete this security group, okay? Because the workflow will fail until there's already a security group app server SGX which exists, okay? But to avoid it, we need the Terraform state to be known by our GitHub action, so that when it checks that this security group exists, there's no need for it to fail or to stop, okay? To do that, we need what they call a remote state backend, but we shall learn about that later, okay? So what do I need? I need to push, okay? Can you imagine? I just press the arrow keys to find the push. Being lazy can be expensive. So I come back here. So I think now you're seeing something that your action can pass, okay? And shows the green tick, but ideally there's something failing. So here it looks faster. Terraform init has passed. No, not yet. So we have validate TS file. Now we're on Terraform plan. Terraform plan is okay. Now we're on Terraform apply. Okay. In fact, by now, if I come back here, okay, and I refresh, you'll see that we have a new security group already created. Okay. That's why I love about Terraform. You don't need to hassle and do things manually. So we have everything here again. Let us try it out again. We see. Wow. So you see, it has failed again. So there's something wrong that we need to figure out. Let me try to debug it. We are now almost 1 hour, 30 minutes into this. If I'm not successful, then we can debug in another session. So let me try to connect to it. This way I regret not having an SSH block, okay, which would allow us to like establish connection with this. I'm starting to wonder what could I have done wrong. Because actually even so when you cannot connect to your instance, it makes it challenging. Do you know why I want to connect the instance? So that I can check the logs, okay? To see what did I do wrong, okay? But right now they can't allow us to connect to our instance, which is a little bit weird. Have I run out of money or something? Okay, it's okay. Let's go ahead, okay, and maybe just look at the config again. I'll just look through my notes to make sure I've not made any mistake. Yeah, so you see, these are the hassles of development. And the hassles are pretty normal. So have I missed out anything? I think we looked at this one. Okay, maybe what I can look at next is the setup.sh. So the shebang /bin/bash. Okay, we set ex apt get update install docker.io docker compose git user mod docker who am I systemctl start docker enable docker if this, okay, the $sign with curly brackets and it is in quotes, Then we clone https the gh part, which should be this. Okay. Then we have the github.com/URL. The issue is that I'm not being allowed to SSH into it, okay? Because now I can't, I don't know what is wrong. Without error logs, you can't really know what you're not doing right. And that is very, very, very frustrating. All right, let me go through it one more time. So we have the mail username, the mail password, the mail from, the mail port, the mail server, token, access token expire minutes, secret key, the algorithm, the Amadeus API key, the Amadeus secret, base URL. I think that's it. This path airbound ventures /backend.env looks okay. Okay, then that we cd into airbound ventures, then we run docker compose app -d -build. That looks okay. So is the issue in we didn't touch this, okay? Okay, we touched the variables, but the variables, remember, I copied from what was existing. If you remember what we had, we look at my notes here, it's all the same. I don't know if you guys see something different. All this is actually the same. GH part, username. Okay, I'll go to the main.tf. Okay, it could be that I did something wrong in main.tf. And what is very frustrating is when you see your workflow passing, okay, like this, okay, and you're seeing this okay, the outputs, okay, that the IP address is this and it's running on that port, okay, the resource has been successfully run. So what you just now need now to prove is to find out why is the server inside, okay, not like working, okay. That's where now the concern comes. But to find out that, you need to SSH into your machine. So if I cannot SSH, why you cannot know what is going on? But let's continue. What is this? Let's look at this main.tf. Okay. Main.tf, I have a provider. I didn't touch this. Okay. Then we have a VPC, AWS VPC. It's a default VPC true. Then we have a security group. Okay, so it's called AWS security group. The name is app server SG. Okay. We can name it. Okay. Let me see. I may get what could be wrong, by the way. If I go, okay, but this name can be anything, okay? Do you know that this name can be anything? Like here, we can say maybe arrow, okay? Let me try to do something and I see what happens. Arrow dash bounds slash ventures, like that. And as we do that, I want to terminate this instance. I want to see what happens, okay? So instead of app server SGA, let me try to change it. Okay, we just wait for this to be terminated, then we delete the other one. So here, now I can say, okay, error bound ventures description, allow inbound traffic on port 8000, okay? What is the VPC ID? VPC ID will be data, okay, dot AWS underscore VPC dot default. When I'm debugging, sometimes I look at the spellings. Like, did I write the correct spelling or the wrong spelling? Okay. Dot ID. After that, that looks okay. In fact, this we can call it Airbound Ventures SG. Okay. SG for security group. So from port 8000 to port 8000 protocol, the blocks, that looks okay. Port 0 to 0, this also looks okay. I'll close this, open. Now this one, I don't think it could have any issue because I don't remember us modifying this. I'll leave this and then go to the resource. Okay, resource and AWS instance. Okay, this is the name. So the Amazon machine image remains the same. The instance type remains the same. User data equals to template file. Okay. Slash setup.sh. The spelling the same? Yeah, spelling is the same. Oh. I see something, guys. I see something. Wow. But what is making me wonder, okay, is why it didn't fail. Let's go back. Let's go back here. Are you seeing here when you go to Terraform validate? Okay. It says the configuration is valid. But what I'm thinking is this, guys. If you go here, I was thinking this has to have commands. Okay. This has to have commas actually. Okay. Let's try comma, while checking the variable names, repo URL, ghpath, mail username, mail password, mail from, mail port, mail server, access token expires, vast secret key, algorithm, Amadeus API key, Amadeus API secret, Amadeus base URL. So I think that is okay. So VPC security groups equals to AWS security group, which is this one, dot app server sg, app server sg dot id, the tags. Okay. Probably this is the only difference I'm seeing yet. Okay. Only one way to find out. Let's try this push. Okay. I don't know what name I should give. Okay. Guyen says long time. Yes, Guyen, long time. I had some, I guess you guys were wondering where I was. I took some time handling personal issues, and yesterday when I wanted to create the first live stream, my designer got sick, the child got sick, the wife got sick, so messed up everything. But I'm happy to be back. Okay. And yeah, the learning never stops and the building never stops. So I'll git add. I don't know what commit I should put. I'm tired of I hate making commits for small things. Okay. I'll say fix. What am I fixing? I'll just say Terraform add commas. Rohan says, yeah, add commas. Thank you, Rohan. Sometimes when you're thinking about this, makes it, I don't know, when you're tired. Like right now, this side it is 10, 10:30, 10:40 p.m. Okay, my mind is a little bit tired. I'll say add commas to Terraform config. I hope this is the issue. Okay, but what is disturbing me is I have an issue. Allow me to see what is going on. Okay, allow me to see what is going on in the server. Okay, how can I see the server logs? By entering the server and looking at the server logs in the log file. But now you're not allowing me to SSH into the server. Wait, I forgot to terminate this. I mean to delete this security group. But even then, I don't think it would affect because the other one which we are now creating has a different name. So this has worked. Like you see, when the configuration is wrong, this should fail, okay? But Terraform validate like worked, okay? So Terraform plan has worked. We have this again, okay? Wow, crazy. But then you won't let me know what is going on. So the issue is that we're not being allowed to connect, okay? Using the public IP address. If they could allow us to connect to it, okay, would actually resolve the issue very fast because we would see the logs and know what is going wrong. All right, so they're saying error, they're still saying the same thing, okay? They're not allowing us to establish connection to the instance. I guess this is something maybe we can debug together tomorrow. Because I'm starting to think this is something to do with AWS, okay? Because I should be able to SSH into the instance. And trust me, I've done this like multiple times. Let me show you. If I go to actions, I was testing this over several times yesterday. Okay, you see, this one failed. Okay, some failed, some passed. Okay, and it was pretty okay. Okay, and this is the first time actually. What is funny is that it is happening when we are doing the live stream. Okay, is that after running when all jobs pass successfully. Okay, we even get the application URL, okay, that things are okay, but then we can't have access to. Look at it, guys. It's not working. Oh my God. Rohan says, I wish I knew something. I have never used Terraform or AWS. It's not working, guys. So this is my guess. The, what's it called? The server, I think the server, the script took some time probably to set up. Because it's working. Let me do this. Let me drag all this side. Drag this here. Drag this here. But you see what is frustrating? But let me tell you something, okay? When you're doing DevOps, ideally you want one thing to work, okay? So I think like this one is working, okay? If my users become many, okay, then I can simply replicate the same thing, okay, into like maybe 100 instances to work on 100, 10, maybe 10,000 or 100 users, okay. That is what I would do, okay. But for you to scale to 100 instances, you need one instance to work. When you're sure that the configuration of one instance is working, that's when you can replicate it. But if one is not working, brother, you'll cry. So look at it here. It's now working. This is our API. Message, flight booking API. It's now okay. Okay. If I go to, but we need, this thing has shocked me. Okay. This is the first time that I'm trying to connect, like you can to connect to, I've never tried to SSH to a machine. Okay. And it fails. Oh, maybe I know, guys. Are you seeing this thing which says initializing? status check initializing. We're supposed to wait for it to complete, guys. So guys, who is the dummy here? It's me. I think I'm just tired. So usually when I'm supposed to, I think in this, I've actually now known what to do. Okay, in this setup, okay, in this setup script, okay. In fact, before this, I'm supposed to probably wait for the cloud init, okay? Wait for the instance to finish initializing, okay? I see in this, it says 3 out of 3 checks passed, okay? So before those checks have passed, you cannot connect to it. Let's try to connect to it, okay? Now, and we see. So there's no way we would access actually the server, but now here we are. And now we can go to Postman, okay? Let me open Postman. And we test at least one to show you that things are actually real. Okay, this is still failing, but at least we know that the API is working. We don't need SSH anymore, but it's a good thing for them to give us SSH. Need to Postman. So Rohan, simply watch the past. Let me do this. I need to help Rohan in a moment. Let me switch my account. Because we need to test, okay? We need to test the things that they work. Meanwhile, as that is happening, I want to show Rohan what you need to do. So Rohan, if you go to the playlist, okay, the playlist, which is this one, okay, in detail, and you scroll to the bottom, okay. Let me just click here like this. So Rohan, there is a video. I seen this video starting from here, infrastructure as code, okay, 3 weeks ago. Watch this, okay. Take your time, practice as you watch, okay. Don't just watch, practice it. Even if you spent 1 week on only this video, it's okay. Even 1 month, the goal is for you to understand. Don't go at people's pace, okay. After that, go to Terraform configuration files, okay. Then go to Terraform variables and outputs. Then go to Terraform destroy. Go to collaborating with HCP, then automating with infra. Then now this is today where we are right now, okay. But to understand everything properly, I would suggest you start with, you watch actually the first part, system design and architecture, to understand what we are doing, okay. And I've discovered being consistent is very tricky, okay. I see from the beginning, the first video has about 1,000 people who watched, 1,700 people who watched about a month ago. But the numbers kept dropping because being consistent to learn something is not a trait everybody can have, okay. So yeah, share this in your network in case you find it valuable. So what I want right now is this URL, okay? I was going to wonder how come something I've been testing and playing around with the past 2 days, not the past 2 days, but yesterday and today, is failing. So I need to sign in. Wow, Postman. So let's sign in. I want to test an endpoint, okay? We should leave here when we have tested. So I'll say open. I need to switch. Okay, this is mine. Expand this. Maybe I can just, what's this again? I thought I was just saving. Can I escape? Okay, let's try, for example, this, okay? I see in this airport and city search, okay? The best URL is localhost, okay? But we're not running on localhost, okay? So I'm going to change, I'm simply going to come here and remove this, okay? And paste that, okay? and then keyword. Okay, so for this, the keyword is London. Okay, yeah, that is it. Okay, so this is the IP address, including the port. Okay, and this is the entire endpoint. So hit search. Are you seeing this? We're getting a 200. Okay, meaning our API is working. Clap for me. I'm happy. So the satisfaction I have right now outweighs any issue I've had in this stream. So you can see we have results. Okay, it works. Actually, let me share it in the chat so that you guys can test it out. You might think probably it is a scam. Where can I get? If I go that stream and I share it with the chat. So there it is. Test it for now before I take it down. It's in the chat. Okay, I can close this. So here I can control Z to the best API endpoint. What else? We can test another one. Okay, we can check flight search. Okay, search for flights. Okay, so instead of the local hosts, okay, I'll change this base URL like this manually to that. Okay, so what are we searching for? Okay, we are searching for something seems to be wrong with this URL. Did I do something? Let me say Control Z. It's supposed to be a base URL. Okay, like okay, let's search. I've seen it. Okay, I think an error occurred while searching for a location. This is very a good message. It means the server is working. Okay, we're supposed to have an internal server error. But let me fix it. I know the issues with this. What have I done? What have I just done? Okay. Something I did something wrong. Okay. I seen this keyword. This is a wrong value. Okay. I seen this. This is a wrong value. How can a keyword have this? Okay. This is weird. And I don't remember how I put this. Rohan says, I have also only watched the first system design video. I need to be more consistent. And you are doing very valuable work. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rohan, for that encouragement. All those who only watch the first part, please ensure you watch all. Okay, it will help you with your thought process and everything, because you get to even see mistakes. Me, I don't fear making mistakes and failing, even in public. It's a very good thing that I take pride of, because failing, I've learned that failing is a very good thing. So Rohan, don't fear. Just go for it. Okay. It was only one video, but now it's 21 days. Before you know it, it will be 31 days and maybe 50. So keyword, I need to change, remove this, put, maybe leave London. I wonder why was, okay, now it works. Okay. So you see, if I, so you see subtype, type location, subtype city, name London. Okay. You get the IATA code, the geo code, the address. Okay. This is the flight information. Pretty cool, isn't it? Okay. The max results is 1. Did we get 1 here? What do I need to change? Hmm, this max, what does it mean max results or something? Because maybe I'm seeing so many results. I need to read the Amadeus documentation. So you see, no one is actually perfect in this world. I was so good at, now I need to revise everything. And this endpoint here, I feel like I maybe malformed it or something. Is it the same as this one? No, we shall find out. Okay. So here subtype. I don't remember. I think the subtype was there was city, maybe an airport. Let me try airport and see. If it failed, it will give us an internal server error. Let's see. Connection refused. Oh, it's still looking for me. I have to use base URL. The what? The are you seeing this? This is the mistake I did for the other one. That's how I got confused. Are you seeing this, guys? What I just pasted here? This is how I caused trouble for myself previously. Now I've understood why I caused trouble for myself. I'm supposed to only copy this. So paste. I think subtype airport. Yeah. So the memory served me well. It is airport. Okay. So, but the default I've remembered is city. Okay. If I remove this, okay, you'll see that the subtypes here are going to be city. You see, it is city. Now I've remembered. Okay. And we shall get back to the API endpoints very soon. So if I go back to flight search get, I think I put something wrong here. Okay. How I'm going to fix it is this. I'll go to flight search this other endpoint, or even just Google the Amadeus documentation. Okay. Because if I don't fix this, the next time I'll come here, I'll suffer. So I'll come and say, hang on, by the way, before we leave, there's something small I want to tell you about this. Okay. I'm going to run this action here without doing a git push so that you see something very important. So I'll say Amadeus flight search get documentation developers. This is probably too long for a search. Okay. So we come here, get started with self-service APIs. Come on, I've already registered. I don't need to register again. Do I really need to register? Okay, just sign in. This is where I expect my brother to help me. This is what I'm going to do. Instead of that, I'm going to find it in a smarter way. Come back here. Because actually you don't need to sign in to use the APIs. You only need to sign in. You only need to sign in if you want, for example, like to get the API key. So I'll go to flights. Flights, flight booking, flight offers, search. This is what I'm looking for. Oh, by the way, guys, there's no need for me to come here. Okay. I think I'm just tired. To find out the actual URL, all I need to do is go to the endpoint we built. Okay. Here. Okay. Go to backend, go to routers, okay, go to flights, okay, scroll to the top. It must be among the first two. So I see this one, flight offers search to get. So this is the endpoint I'm looking for. So what was wrong with me? Yeah, now you know it's not to be tired. So what I need to do is to remove all this part. This is the part I messed up by copying from the other side. Paste like that. Come on. Remove that, paste, question mark. Then I can hit enter. Okay. like that. So unprocessable entity, missing origin location code. Okay. So we need to pass the origin location code. I can just copy this. And that's a good error. Okay. That is coming from Pindatic. So Rohan and those who are just watching this for the first time, to understand what this error means, what Pindatic is, you need to watch from the very beginning. Okay. And watch the series where I learned. I have another live stream. Okay. Let me quickly show you. If I go to playlists, there's this one here where I studied what FastAPI. Okay, you need to also you can just go through some of them to understand some of those key concepts. But let's finish this. So actually, instead of keyword, it's supposed to be origin location code. Now I've remembered equals to London destination. And origin location code, you don't need to put like this London. It has to be like, for example, an abbreviation. Okay, you get. So this is what I want to do. I want to remove all this. Okay, like that. Oh my god. Control Z. I was going to mess up again. So that here, okay, I can decide to switch on and switch off. If I do this, I think all the query parameters here have reduced. Again, if you don't know what query parameters is, go and watch those videos. So I can put them back like this. Okay. Now here, okay, instead of London, it's supposed to be an IATA code. Okay. For example, I need to know I can say from New York by saying NYC. Okay. And we worked on an endpoint which is going to help us get these IATA codes. So I'll search this time. And we're using the endpoint on AWS. Take note of that, what we have just deployed. Are you seeing? We get flight offers. Okay. And if I expand this, you see we have a flight offer. Type flight offer, and it is 1. This is what I expected. Okay. I was wondering why it was saying max 1, and then we have many attributes. It was bringing something else because I copied this URL from here and appended it here. So it was messed up. But it's now expected. If I come here and I say max equals to 2, okay, and again, it's in this school that we're now executing an API on the internet, in the cloud, in a virtual cloud on an AWS, okay, in a VPC, which has a firewall configured, and this machine is actually having our application running in a Docker container. So our actual FastAPI application is running in a Docker container on an AWS machine, but we didn't even have to create that machine manually. Okay, all that machine was created automatically for us. The VPC was created automatically. The firewall was created automatically. Docker was installed for us. Docker Compose was installed for us. The environment variables set up for us. Very nice. Okay, I love tech this way. So you see, when I change max equals to 2, we have now 2 flight offers. Okay, if I come back here and I change it to 5, so this is me now testing out the API and having fun. Okay, we should see 5 results here. 5 flight offers. So this is the first one, second one, third, fourth, fifth. Isn't that nice? So yeah, for now I can remove this and put back base URL, which points to localhost. But of course, we're not dealing with localhost now. I can close Postman. Okay. I quit. Then I want to show you one final thing. Okay. Before we call it a day, let me show you one final thing, which is very important. Okay. And what I'm going to show you is the important challenge which we are going to solve in the next stream. Now, like you've seen, our application is working. Okay. It has no problem. Now, the way Terraform works is that in the event I went, for example, like my main.tf, okay, and made a change probably to the security group, okay, AWS should be, Terraform is smart enough to first check our infrastructure and say that, okay, in this infrastructure, do I have A, B, C, D? Do I have a VPC? Do I have this, and this? Okay. If they are there, okay, it does not recreate them. How does it prevent this? Okay, using the terraform.state file. Okay, in case there's a modification, okay, maybe for example, we have changed the instance name, okay, or the instance type. Terraform is smart enough to only change the instance type. Okay. How does it know what to change, what to create, and what not to create if already exists? Using Terraform.tf state. But in our case, our Terraform.tf state is on the local machine. And the other Terraform.tf state, which runs on in the GitHub Actions machine, okay? Every time we run a GitHub action, the Terraform TF state is always erased, okay? Because Terraform, the GitHub Action machine reruns everything from scratch every time, okay? So because of running everything from scratch every time, it won't know that a particular security group called Airbound Ventures SG exists, okay? So it will fail, okay? The action will fail, okay? And yet every time we push our code to GitHub, we want it to only update if there's something new. Okay. So for that to happen, we need what they call a remote Terraform backend to solve that problem. Because on our GitHub action, we cannot have a persistent Terraform state. We need what they call a remote backend for our Terraform state. And that's what we're going to look at in the next video. To show that we shall have trouble, let me click on rerun all jobs. Okay. Let me click on rerun. So let me clean this. Let me click on it and open. Okay, you see, it says Terraform exited with code 1. Process exited with code 1, okay, meaning a failure. So look at this, okay. Says creating security group, Airbound Ventures, operation error EC2. Create security group, okay. Read this last message. It says the security group, Airbound Ventures, already exists for VPC. This is the issue I told you. And yet every time in our code, when we develop our code and we push, okay, or the pull request, we want Terraform to be able to know that there is an existing security group called Airbound Ventures. So don't create it. Don't attempt to create it. Okay. Only update its configuration in case it has changed, like inbound rules. So for us to do that, we need a remote backend. And that is something we shall look at in a future live stream. So right now, if you wanted to fix it, of course, you would just come here. You have to manually delete this. Okay. You would come here. But of course, before you delete it, you need to delete the instance, okay, which is a lot of work, okay, which would mean you're losing your credentials and stuff like that, okay. So I have to come here, go to instance state, okay, and I terminate, okay, which is not something you want to do in the real world, okay. Then I come back here, okay. I can now come to actions, delete security groups, okay. Let me see, is the instance still terminated or not yet? Okay. So no instances found. Let me try to refresh this. Come here, actions, delete. Okay, we cannot yet delete it yet. Since the following security groups can be deleted, they are either default security groups, referenced by other security groups, or are associated to instances. Okay, but right now, of course, there is no instance running. Let me try to delete it again. It has refused to delete it, but that's okay. Okay. But now that I've deleted the instance here, I want to, let's give it some time. Okay. we shall be able to delete it. I think it needs to associate this from it hasn't yet known that this instance has been deleted. Okay. If I remove this filter, you see a number have been terminated. Okay. So let's wait and see. I want to force the deletion of all these. Let's try again. Okay, still there. Let me attempt to do this. But of course, when you now, I think now you see the challenge. Okay, you'd have to wait for AWS to know that, okay, I've deleted an instance, and because of I've successfully shut down an instance, now security groups can be now terminated. That's the challenge with this. Okay, so in the future live stream, we need to set up a remote backend, okay, for our state file of the GitHub action. Locally, we have a state file, which is okay. Okay, we wouldn't actually have this problem if we're doing things from our local machine. But again, we cannot continuously do them from our local machine. It will be heavy work. We want everything to be automated. Our work should be to develop code and everything, write code and everything else concerning deployment works successfully. So even if I rerun, okay, I expect to get the same issue. Okay, so let me just rerun to buy time so that we're given chance to delete that. So I hope you've learned something from this stream. Okay, sometimes actually you learn more when you see someone fail. Okay. So this should have failed. So you see, the same again failed, which is okay. Let me try now to delete it and see if they give us the liberty to delete. So they're saying will not be deleted. And of course you cannot delete the default, okay? So they still think it is associated with the instance, okay? So it's okay. Shall be patient, okay? But you get the whole point, okay? And you see how look at me. I have to wait for AWS to do its thing, but in the event that if I had done things the right way, okay, if we had our state here, okay, all would be okay. So we shall look at how to do that soon. Or is it complaining about the VPCs? Basically, we are using the default VPC, and you cannot delete a default VPC. So you see, it's right here. I'm not sure it took long like this. Okay, now you see, we're now finally able to delete it. It has been deassociated. But now look at how long it took me. Imagine you had 1,000 instances, and each instance has a security group. Would you do it manually like this? No, it would be painful. Okay, so let's go back to here. Okay, and then we rerun. Say rerun all jobs. Now watch what is going to happen. You see, I think security group was created successfully. Creation complete after 3 seconds. So it didn't fail. And I see now we have our application URL here. Okay. If I open it, I think this can't be reached. But if I come here, so it's doing the same thing that we faced last time. Okay. So I think the instance here is still initializing. It's not yet ready. Okay. So one thing I'm now seeing is that one trick we can do is before, okay, before all this is printed, we must make sure that you only give us the application URL when the instance has finished initializing successfully. Okay. So now you see that the, all the steps, okay, all the job has run successfully. Okay. And now you know why we need that remote backend for our GitHub workflow runner. And a GitHub workflow runner is simply a machine. Okay. So people use different terms for the things, runner, what, but it's ideally the same thing. Okay. So let me get the state and there. So it's still initializing. Okay. Where's that URL? Go to Terraform apply. Let's scroll right here. There we are. Okay. It's now working. Happy? That is how you combine FastAPI or any backend programming language and your favorite, any favorite programming language of your choice. I mean, okay. We combine FastAPI, which is a web framework for creating REST APIs using Python. We put together Docker and Docker Compose. Okay, Docker for running applications, Docker Compose for running multi-container applications. Then after that, we wired it up. We used Terraform to create infrastructure for us. We learned about shell scripting. Okay, shell scripting is a very important skill for DevOps. Okay, so we looked at backend and DevOps. So under backend, we looked at things like routes, path operations, query parameters, body parameters, etc. A lot of authentication. Okay. Very soon we shall look at authorization. We have DevOps, we have done shell scripting. Okay. We have done infrastructure creation, automated infrastructure creation. We have done containerization. We have done CI/CD using GitHub Actions. Okay. And like I promised you from the beginning, okay, this series is going to cover everything. Okay, if you're actually learning, okay, from the first video, you have no excuse not to start making money by the end of this series. Trust me. By the time I'm done with the MVP, you have no excuse not to make money. Okay, using your skills. As long as you're practicing and doing what I'm telling you, you're going to be very good. So see you in the next live stream. I hope to have a live stream tomorrow. In the previous weeks, I've had a number of challenges, okay, which make me not to have live streams. But yeah, I want to be consistent again. And yeah, tomorrow let's meet at the same time. So thank you for watching. Share this with your friends in your network, and of course you can like and subscribe to so that you get notified when we begin these lessons. Bye, and let's meet soon. Thank you, Rohan, for being active and Guyen. Good night too.